We are back. I am excited.
You seemed confused for a second there.
No,
we're
are
back.
definitely back.
You and I are sharing a couch
That's
again.
one thing I know.
It's going to be okay.
This is the Odd Couple couch. Welcome to the Love and Hate couch. One of the most exciting things for me during this entire E3 was the Skull and Bones reveal.
Yes.
And we have the creative director of Skull and Bones here with us. We got Justin on the couch with us. Pirate, I want to be one. I've always wanted to be one.
How can we get this man
How
to the pirate?
can I pirate?
I mean, it's a base fantasy, right? Like
Yes.
ever since we've been little kids, we wanted to be pirates. And for us at Ubisoft Singapore, this is our chance to really bring that fantasy to life. So we're super excited to be able to share not just the vision of the game with the CG and the assets, but really the experience of being able to take control of these huge, huge tall ships during the age of piracy.
It's amazing. And if you guys haven't checked out the trailer, we'll roll it right now because this is absolutely wonderful. This, to me, is the fruition of sort of a dream that I had, and I'm sure a lot of you had within Ubisoft. As soon as Assassin's Creed 3 was announced, I was like, oh, I love this. I would also love something that is entirely this part of Assassin's Creed 3. I would love something that is entirely about... No, it was 3 and then Black Flag.
Black Flag was the
Well,
first one.
yeah,
It was in
in
3.
AC3 we did the naval missions, which really were the impetus for AC4's naval. Yeah.
This is...
I
I've
don't know
been to
why.
E3 before, my dude.
You know what? I'm never correcting you again. You win forever.
But no, so how long has this idea sort of been gestating for you and been in the back of your head and the back of your team's mind?
Well, personally, I came to work at Ubisoft because of those naval missions, and it was really a driving factor for me. And when I found out about what Ubisoft Singapore's mission was, and when we started to work on AC4 Black Flag, I was hooked. The idea of being able to bring that fantasy to life was really, really one of my career goals. And you know, as a creative, it's super exciting to be able to bring that to life. Our studio really focuses on, you know, the naval tech and naval gameplay in AC3 and AC4. And also the online service stuff that we did with Ghost Recon Phantoms. Those two synergies really allowed us to bring this stuff to life.
So one thing that I wanted to discuss is because we have seen naval missions in Black Flag and in AC3, some people were seeing the trailer and they were not fully wrapping their mind around how this is differing from these naval missions and how you've expanded and broadened sort of that gameplay.
Well, I mean, it's really just the tip of the iceberg showing the PvP, our loot hunt mode. That's the mode that you guys saw at E3. We have a vision that really brings that to life. You start out as an upstart pirate captain. You leave the Caribbean. You refuse the king's pardon. You say, fuck it, I'm a pirate. I'm going to keep this life. You head for the pirates round in the southern tip of Madagascar, and you reach the Indian Ocean, which compared to the fishbowl of the Caribbean, the Indian Ocean's massive, right? So being able to have that huge canvas for us to tell a story and for the players to be part of shaping that story and the world is the ultimate pirate experience for us.
How will it feel very familiar if you had played the previous Assassin's Creed game in terms of control and how the ship functions?
Well, we've done a lot of research in how we're building our 3 Cs, the way that the game controls, and players who are familiar with Black Flag are going to feel right at home, as well as exposing them to a brand new depth that they've never seen or been exposed before. As you see in the gameplay trailer, one of the key things that we've integrated is the wind as a fundamental aspect of it. I mean, these ships are massive, and the wind is what really fuels, you know, their positioning, their tactics, and their speed. And it's a key part, not just of being able to sail, but the customization and how you're able to be an effective predator.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that. We're watching some of the stuff pop up right now. First of all, eye patch customization. Yes or no? How many straps? I see 3.
Well, yeah. I mean, being able to shape your captain and being able to have a look of a captain that's you know, that fits your play style, your preference, what you have an affinity to. Like, I really like the guy that has no shirt, and that's the guy. And all of our captains have backstories, and you'll be able to select from multiple captains when you start the game and start your journey.
You've brought some gameplay, and I want to jump into that and kind of dive into what's going to be happening when we're playing Skull and Bones. So if we can pull that up. Sure. So as these different captains, these are pre-made captains with stories that you can then customize?
Well, you start out with a little bit of a backstory, but you know, over time your journey is shaped, as well as the characters and your crew is shaped by that journey. So we want players to really be proud of the way their captains look, the way their crew looks, and the way their ship looks, and that's where customization comes in.
Oh Lord, this is gorgeous.
Do we also have to fight off scurvy?
Scurvy?
This is an important pirate
This is a
question.
good question. Very good pirate question.
I've actually had, this is the first time in my career that I've had 2 people ask me within 24 hours to add disease to a video game. So, I mean, I guess we'll look at it. Maybe it's too early to talk about the disease
Just a barrel of
feature.
oranges. That's all I ask. You know, just throw it in there. That's a little bit of loot that'll just keep everybody happy. Yeah, no, the game looks amazing. Now it's going to have a campaign as well, correct?
We built the game from the ground up so that our narrative is integrated not just in our PvP modes, but in our shared systemic world. So the story that you go on, the journey that you go on, is a single journey. We didn't want it to be a one-off or a side campaign like you see in a lot of games. We wanted players to feel that we have a single world with lots of things to do, both co-op, single player, sailing solo, as well as in our PvP modes.
So let's talk about some of the stuff we're seeing right here. We have a couple different, it looks like a couple different classes of ships. Can you start off by talking about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Our classes are designed with traditional RPG archetypes in mind. So if you think about other RPG games, the role of playing support, damage, long range, those are things that we wanted to bring to our world that were familiar to players. So if you have a particular playstyle, like me, I really like to stay from a distance in our game. So I use a Sleep of War, which is what's on the screen right now. I use my long nines from a distance. I'm able to effectively stay out of combat for me. I feel safe. And other players are able to use really heavy defensive tank-type weapons and ships like the frigate, or up close and brutal ships like the brigantine, which is almost a melee-type ship. You have a very heavy, devastating ram, short-range, high-damage broadsides, and it's all about your play style. And customization is another layer on top of that.
Was it kind of a challenge to get all of those balanced and working well together?
Well, I think when you develop a new IP in general, the toughest thing is to make sure that everyone has a shared vision of how we're going to bring that to life. So customization was, part of that challenge. But ultimately, people understand RPG archetypes. They understand the roles that they have in other games. And face it, we have lots of games that we play in our lives, and they're competing for our time. And I don't want players to have to relearn everything. I want players to go, oh yeah, I want to do this in this game. I want to be this kind of pirate. I want to have this role, and I do it with my friends. I do it with my guild mates that I play all, my other games with, and it translates well into the experience of Skull and Bones.
Now let's talk about sort of crew control. We are a captain. We are choosing our captain to be, but we also and I don't mean to keep going back to the Assassin's Creed naval missions. I'm just using them as a touch point,
Sure.
And I do know that in the Assassin's Creed missions, I was able to move from station to station within my ship, but not necessarily have sort of direct control over crew. How does your crew work?
First of all, I love Assassin's Creed Black Flag combat. What I wanted to bring in terms of the vision is a feeling of intimacy with your crew stations. So we don't hear the audio right here on this trailer, but every crew responds. They tell you what they need. You hear them calling out when they have targets, when they're ready to reload. They're begging you to fire, and the cameras go down close. And here, even boarding, you have crew abilities that will really strengthen a lot of these activities from every weapon station, every activity, every ability. That's where we really feel the pirate fantasy comes into play. The relationship between a captain and his crew is a key part of the fantasy.
And including in that is the shanties, which we heard before. We're still going to have a good diversity of those.
All new shanties.
Yes!
All new shanties.
Hashtag all new shanties.
And, Skull and Bones is being developed by, not just Ubisoft Singapore. We have partner studios that are really helping us bring this to life, and shanties are a big part of that. And we're really proud of the type of shanties. You can hear a couple of the new ones in the trailers and the gameplay videos.
So we are seeing multiple ships against multiple ships here. I assume that there's some matchmaking. I assume that I can play with my friends if I want to. How do I kind of put together a fleet?
Well, there's two major approaches. The first one is you as a pirate kingpin. Your goal is to become a pirate kingpin, to build your fleet of ships, to have more power and choice, and you do that by developing new ships. Additionally, if you form a gang of pirates with your friends, you're going to have a different objective of being the most powerful gang in the Indian Ocean. And everyone's going to have their own ships to bring to the table. So let's say some missions you want to be the guy who's really the frigate, holding down the control points and capturing basically a physical space in the ocean, and maybe you're helping support him, or you're the melee leg of it. But it's all based on the situation, the type of merchants that maybe you're attacking, or your enemy that you're facing in the PvP disputed waters of the Indian Ocean.
Is that something where you start with a single ship and you build your own fleet to your taste, or do you have access to each of the classes early on?
Well, you're going to start with one ship,
Mm-hmm.
but we want to make it really something that the players have a very clear path to get to the play style that they want. But it's just the tip of the iceberg. But I mean, I would love to share with you all the things that we have. And the demo is just to show that we have diversity in our classes, that we have roles that you can take. But I mean, let your imagination run wild, because that's what we're doing, and we're trying to bring all of the different play styles to life that we all associate with not just the pirate genre, but working together with your friends, and not in PvP, PvE, and co-op.
It's absolutely amazing. We were running our poll, which if you are at live@e3.com, you can weigh in on our polls throughout the day. We're going to be asking you things. What are people excited for? All new sea shanties.
There it is.
Right on. Well,
There
you're in luck.
it is.
That's what they want.
Nothing but new shanties.
New
Nothing-
shanties all the way down.
And I promise some never
You win the
before
fight.
heard shanties too.
These are you may think you know all the shanties. You may think that you
You
are a
don't know
pirate
You don't know
shanty
shanties.
We
We
don't
know
aficionado.
know
shanties.
shanty.
Yeah, they have all new shanties, and they mean it.
I mean, the Indian Ocean's a brand new territory, so we want to bring to life a lot of the lore and the history of the regions that will unlock over time as a live service.
That's a couple things that I wanted to hit on here as we're kind of closing up. Number one, we did see that battle was going on in a very wide open section of the ocean. When you come into a battle, is the Indian Ocean like a whole persistent ocean, or are we sort of going into as we go into combat, certain sections become the combat section?
Well, personally, one of my favorite parts of AC4 Black Flag was being able to sail on my own and decide what I wanted to do. To get information about the world, to get intel about maybe a convoy that's rich with treasure, and then go after it. That's key. So it's not just matchmaking. It's not just going into a lobby. That's not the experience we want. We want players to feel as if the world is rich with opportunity, and they're able to get information. They go to their hideout, they learn about the world, and then they go do heists. They go, I mean, it's really about creating the ultimate pirate experience. We're not just PvP. That's really just the tip of the iceberg for us.
I love it. I want to go with a couple quick things that people had on Twitter. One of them. How is weather going to play into the scenario of combat?
First and foremost, when people play PvP, they want it to be fair. They want to make sure that no one's pay to win, or that no one has an advantage that's unfair. And so that means that what you see in our mode today is about a fair and equitable PvP between two teams that both have the right to the same treasure. But weather is a big part of the ocean. The Beaufort levels are something that's real and dynamic. And we have dedicated servers, right? So we've replicated our ocean so that when you play online, everyone is experiencing the same waves, the same height, the same ocean settings, storms. All those things are a rich part of what Skull and Bones is all about.
Oh, that is
That's
so
amazing
rad.
to hear. Yeah, no, that's nothing worse than having a markedly different experience happening for the other opponent.
And what you're saying is also ties to our progression. We have a single unified progression. So when you're in the hunting grounds and you're sailing by yourself or with your friends or with strangers, that progression, the things that you need to fuel your progression in the hideout for new ships, new customization, new characters that you want to interact with, new crewmates, those things are the same as PvP.
I got to ask, though, okay, so on the back of that, there's definite benefits to winning. Are there consequences to losing?
Well, my approach on this is to make sure that we create worlds and opportunities where the risk is commensurate with the reward. So the safer regions, you're going to have a little bit less, riches that come your way. But if you're willing to risk more of your own loot, put yourself on the line against other, predators themselves, then you're going to have some consequence to that.
Amazing. Final question. We saw a quick boarding scenario. Will boardings turn into a melee situation or a crew-on-crew situation, or is this something where you are going to create your crew and they will sort of fight the other crew on their own using their skills?
Well, first and foremost, boarding is high-risk, high-reward maneuver. It's all about the positioning, making sure that you expose the weakness on your enemy ship so that you can make them boarding ready. It also has to work in a multiplayer context. So if we're playing, we don't expect someone to have a 10-minute boarding sequence. We want it to resolve in a way that makes sense in multiplayer. But as we look at moving forward, the idea of creating an experience where boarding matches the fantasy, that's absolutely what we're shooting for.
Awesome. And do we have a timeline on Skull and Bones?
Skull and Bones releases in the fall of 2018 on Xbox One, Xbox X, PS4, PS4 Pro, and PC.
With all new shanties.
Nothing but new
Shanties
shanties.
everywhere.
Nothing
The old
but new
shanties are out.
shanties.
Those are yesterday's news.
Forget those shanties. They are old and
Those
busted.
are 1600s.
Oh, just a couple of them, just maybe like a couple DLC old ones.
No!
Like, no, I want some.
Let
no,
go of
I
the
love
old
some of the old ones
shanties.
too. They were good.
Justin, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
absolutely,
I'm
man.
So looking
Thanks very
forward
much.
to it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Ashley, what's going on?
I heard heists, and I'm all in. I got heists. I got shanties.
What I mean, that's what it's all about. My life is nothing but heists and shanties all the way down. This is a game for me. Heists, shanties, and clothing customization are my top 3 things in life.
What if you could get a 4-strap eye patch?
Justin hasn't actually walked away. 4-strap eye patch.
Parrot.
I mean, you see how our tone is a little bit different. We're not a cartoon game.
Yeah.
We take it very seriously. The idea of being a predator is really at the essence of piracy. Piracy is defined as the act of robbing a ship at sea, and that's how you're going to feel. You're going to feel like a really powerful predator.
Okay.
Right.
We'll leave the 4-strap eye patch on the table. We don't have to.
we'll
we
see.
don't have to go into it now. Thanks, man.